All right. So to give you guys a proper intro, um, this episode is not on just yakking. It'll be on my channel, Justin. But if you guys want to check out more videos like this, like podcast style, be sure to check out at just yakking, because that's where most videos like this will be. Um, this is kind of a project that I was working on, and I wanted to bring awareness to it because I feel that it is an issue, and I kind of was intrigued by it. So, I hope you guys enjoy, and let me know how I did. Hey guys, welcome to a kind of spin-off of Just Yakking, but it's not really a podcast. It's kind of a just like a little talk, and it's for school. But I brought people on that don't really know about the issue, and I'm here to inform them. So I'm gonna start off without you looking. How
No
much
peeking.
how much plastic do you think that we use per day? How many bottles?
Like who?
Plastic bottles. The world.
Me, myself?
No, plastic bottles. How many plastic bottles do
A
you think?
million.
No, whoa. We're talking, Rob.
Bottles?
Come on.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
just in the U.S. In just the U.S.
Oh,
maybe
no.
a million. In the
Yeah.
entire world,
Yeah,
Entire world?
Entire world.
dude.
That's
That's
in the billions.
it's in the billions for sure. It's
All right, you want the
definitely
exact number?
how it's
Sure.
produced every day.
All right. According to Lavitt online, it says studies have shown that around worldwide, the total is 1.5 billion plastic bottles per day.
That's a lot of people that drink a lot of water.
Okay.
I believe it, but that's a
So-
lot of plastic being made.
That's a lot of
And that's-
plastic being made.
That's a lot.
all
That's
right?
a big problem.
And that's even if you recycle it, all right? If they just throw it away, imagine what happens to that. All right? I mean, this isn't a recycling topic, but that's just how much plastic's used, all right? Now, how much waste, all right, did the US produce in 2018? Just the US.
Like in weight or
like, in what,
like what kind of
what unit?
Yeah, wait.
just the US?
300 million tons.
Close. 292.4 million tons.
That's a really good guess.
right
That
That was
rounded
a
up.
fantastic.
Huh?
I rounded up.
No, you actually got that right on the spot almost. So-
Imagine if I just went 292.4.
That actually, I would have blown me away. I would have been like, you probably looked that up.
Yeah.
Rob does his research.
I didn't even know the question was being asked.
That's actually really good though, that response.
All right.
But the whole point of this is to talk about a letter that was brought out in 2015. And the person who brought out the letter was Pope Francis, along with his board members who helped him produce it in 2015. The letter itself was Laudato Si. And I brought these wonderful guests on because not only am I going to be talking about it, but I want their input on it as well because I'm pretty sure you guys haven't heard of Laudato Si ever before.
I cannot say I have.
Okay. So, to start off, it's an encyclical letter. So, an encyclical letter, in this terms, is a pastoral letter written by Pope Francis for the whole Roman Catholic Church on matters of doctrine, morals, or discipline. And this letter is designed, the whole purpose of this letter is to reach out to the Catholic faith around the world and to give them a message. It's kind of what the Pope really does. And at first, when I was going through and I was like, oh yeah, I'll read this letter. It's only going to be a couple pages. This letter is 170 pages long. It is not something you want to, take the challenge of trying to read.
It's not something you spend your afternoon doing when
Yeah.
you're off.
Yeah, because I was actually telling Rob about this, and we were sitting in his room, and we were like telling him about what I want to do. And he's like, yeah, I'll read the letter so I can, get some information and pull some topics I want to talk about. And I looked at him like, it's 170 pages long.
I'll wing it, I said.
You're supposed to read the first sentence. And
I
the
didn't
last
feel
sentence.
comfortable reading the cover and
Especially if
not
there's
reading.
an abstract.
Didn't have an abstract.
Well,
I
most letters don't.
actually jokingly said I'll put it in ChatGPT and get a summarized 500 words from it, but
Imagine.
I said, you know what? I'll wing it for authenticity reasons. So here you go, people.
Yeah, this is honestly their raw reactions. I've also, I mean, this isn't my raw reaction because I've been taking a class and I'm learning this letter and we're going over it. But as I was saying, Laudato Si is an encyclical letter written by Pope Francis that was published in 2015. Pope addresses the urgent need for humanity to care for the environment and tackle issues such as climate change, pollution, and loss of biodiversity. And the title itself, Laudato Si, is taken from a famous prayer by Saint Francis of Assisi, praying God for the wonders of creation. So, something that was in this letter that was brought up, some of these themes, was in integral ecology, human impact on environment, climate change, environmental justice, stewardship of creation, dialogue and collaboration, integral development. Now, we're not going to hit any of these topics. We're going to kind of like focus in on something that kind of deals with climate change, but it's something with scarcity of materials. And to kind of wrap this in a beautiful present for you guys so we can kind of take a look at it is something we've talked about personally, is when we go out to these buffets, you always said to me, like, wow, there's so much food that's like produced, or there's like an overconsumption of goods that we constantly have
In the U.S.
in the
especially.
U.S. especially, that is wasted. And I just showed one worldwide than just America.
It'll
Now-
be drastically different, I can tell you that. Because our population's very small compared to other countries, and we have a lot of food intake compared to other countries because we have less population, we have more food demand. Other countries don't have
Mhm.
the ability to do that. But
So I want to hear what your guys' views on like the like scarcity of materials. Just like how much we, use time to time and just how it affects the demand for that item.
so materials as in food,
It could be anything,
so everything.
everything.
Anything that you could buy, Jake.
Anything that I could buy. I think that with the world changing, there's always new things coming out of how to create new things. Just like the way that plastic bottle is made. I feel like eventually, if it does become scarce with the materials, they'll find new ways to create something like that, whether it be harmful or not. But they're always going to have ways to make it.
Like
I don't think they'll ever just run out of the ability to.
you're saying
plastic.
alternatives.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Alternatives.
I agree.
So the thing that I know you're very passionate about, and I think we're both kind of passionate about it,
I'm listening.
is the like especially when we went to the buffet, and we don't really go there a whole lot, but when we go up to Third from the college we go to, there is so much food that is just wasted after you're done eating, and it just goes and gets thrown out. And like at least for me, I have kind of like that feeling of guilt because I'm just like, wow, like this food that sometimes could be butchered or harvested is then brought to someone and then is not consumed fully and then is just thrown away. And my professor and I were actually talking about this when we were like going over like a briefing of this, and he's like, think about stuff like mushrooms, all right? Just think about like the plastic on the bags and think about how much is generated just from that. Think how much plastic wrap you're putting on the mushrooms and how much waste, because it's just there to be storage.
Think of all the plastic that's used for all storage for all products and all the Walmarts in the world. And that's not considering all stores, that's just all Walmarts. All products, for the most part, all have plastic in them. And plastic is one of the leading causes to like global warming. Like it's horrific for the environment.
Yeah,
Like,
because the thing
if
is,
it's
they're
not
also
recycled, it's bad.
they're also coming out with like the last thing you said, recycled. They're always coming out like of things that are biodegradable. Do you really think that's actually biodegradable, or is it just like a component of it that is biodegradable and it's mixed in with plastic?
I actually learned that there's an enzyme in like there's something in the waterway. There's some kind of like bacteria or something, to where the bag, as soon as it hits the waterway, because everything ends up in the ocean. Once it hits the ocean, whatever that certain enzyme, whatever it is, it actually degrades the bag. So it's a type of plastic that's degradable by the ocean's bacteria or something. Learned that freshman year, so it's been a while, but that's where they went with that. They found something that's universal, where all garbage ends up, plastic wise, because that's the worst thing, and they found a way to get rid of it. So that's the plan for that.
Yeah, no, there is actually a new discovery of a microorganism that is now eating plastic. And it can actually digest plastic because it's been there for so long. I don't know if you guys know this about the it's like its own island in the middle of the Pacific, and I think the Pacific and the Atlantic where it meets up, and there's a huge garbage pile. And I forget what it's called, but it basically is an island just full of garbage that if we were going to clean it, we'd go bankrupt.
Oh wait, is that you're saying it's an island? Like you sure
It's
it's
as
like?
big as an island.
So wait, is it also referred to maybe as like Staten Island? Like
Staten Island used to be the New York City equivalent of trash, just island. Everyone sent it there. It's funny, I was talking to someone recently that said Scranton became a large part of 9/11 cleanup after Staten Island started to not be the city's dump. They started sending it to Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
that'd be a lot of garbage.
Wow.
That's what I heard through the grapevine.
Wraps
that-
it around.
Do with that what you will.
So I pulled up a thing.
Sorry, brother.
It's actually called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and it spans for miles. And I'll show you guys like a brief picture. This is kind of what it looks like. It's just garbage upon garbage that is just, in the water. You've probably seen like something of those lines. Now, I don't think people visit because obviously that's not the best part of the world you want to visit.
Yeah, who wants to go visit a fucking dump?
But
It's historical though. It'll be cleaned one
Who
day.
wants to go visit
It's
a
like-
dump?
It's like going to see the iceberg or the what's it called? The glaciers. They're gonna
Yeah,
get melted.
if the
that's the
glaciers-
American glacier.
If the
right
glaciers
there.
had a smell
this
like
is-
the dump had, I don't think people would be going out to see the glaciers. They would see it from their phones.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, this is a problem though. Like all that
I'm not
garbage.
disputing that.
No. I know you're not disputing that. I'm not saying anybody is, but like that's a problem. That much garbage is just dumped into the ocean. All right, that's just sitting there and it's not being cleaned up, and it's gotten to the point where organisms are actually
thriving in the
thriving and actually living off of the plastic. Now, there hasn't been many discoveries, and I don't even know what they're going to try to do with that. But to tie it back into the letter was written for the entire world. So everybody around the world, even if you're not Catholic, it's a letter. And if you choose to read it, you can. You don't have to. But it's to address the problems that are happening with things like overconsumption of raw materials. And that's kind of what I want to hit on. A quote that was brought up, it says, "The earth, our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth." And that was on paragraph 21. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Compared to what it used to be 50 years ago, of like, oh, we're manufacturing now, yeah, like small things, like nothing plastic wrapped really. I mean, might have been, but like everything was very basic, homemade. You didn't like throw out your vacuum, you kept it, you repaired anything that you had. I don't know. So yes, I think we're a very wasteful society. So I don't know if that builds off what you're saying, but
I want your opinion. No, be honest, Rob.
I agree.
No, I want your actual opinion. Tell me what you
Mic
think.
drop.
At the end of the day, you're a person. You have an opinion. You have the right to believe that.
I agree.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
That's not how this works. We're only supposed to say I agree.
Oh,
no,
okay.
that's not what this is for. I want they help me because I want an audience I can relate to, but they don't know about this, so I'm trying to inform them.
I think there's a lot to do with the population too. Like as population increases, so does the wastefulness.
I agree with that.
That is true.
You see
There's a direct
videos-
correlation between that.
You see the videos of like places that were very small towns, and then they'll like do like a time lapse, and obviously it's like automated or whatever AI, but then it'll become a huge city out of nowhere. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more trash coming from that area that used to be a small little town.
So you're just saying as we progress and we're becoming a bigger and bigger population, that trash is just going to become more and more of a problem where it's just going to be laying out in the streets. And that,
Yeah, I mean, you go take a walk in the city and you'll see how it is. I mean, there's trash everywhere.
yeah, but if you go to places like Iceland, and I know you talk about it, like it's
It's
a
high-
crime to litter. Like obviously it's a crime to litter here, but
But they have the system since they built their society like just recently, like because it wasn't as big as it was in the 2000s. So like when it blew up, like they have cameras all over. It is like a one of the newest cities, and it is insane on how like clean and like new everything looks. It's
Yeah.
immaculate.
and I'm not saying to get like cameras and put them up everywhere where we live in America. That's an invasion of your privacy. No one deserves that. It's just if we were to sit there and wait for someone just to like the moral of like just being a good person, I feel that the more and more our population becomes bigger, the less and less that morality of those people become higher because they're just gonna be like, oh well, since I've seen someone else do it, I'm just gonna do it too. That's kind of how I feel. Like I've seen people literally just throw especially where we live in the sticks, like people just throw things out the window, like they're garbage.
But
Yeah,
that's a low population.
That also, it's like kind of like throwing a cup of fresh water in the ocean too, and especially as the population gets bigger. Like, yeah, some people can make a difference, but it's very minuscule compared to
The whole
the problem that's occurring with people that are just littering freely and
I don't think
being wasteful.
I don't think people littering out the window on I-95 contributes nearly as much if they did it every day for a year as one government contract that is sending, I don't know, half of that 300 million tons of garbage to Garbage Island down there.
Mhm.
You know?
yeah.
There's a difference. Yes, every person can help, but one person is not going to change the world. It would have to be a global thing. It can't be a thing that 10% of the population does. 15. It needs to be excessive large number of people doing so. And in reality, it's not feasible to get people to agree to do that. In my opinion, I think that's
No, no, that's
wrong,
no,
but
that's a reasonable opinion.
it's not feasible to say, hey, stop doing this. You middle class worker, stop littering. If we really are worried about that, it needs to be on a much larger scale because that's where most of the large amounts of waste is, not necessarily the individual.
No, I can see where you're coming from with that, and I agree. I mean, we have to look at these organizations like corporations that attribute to that large amount. I mean, the average Joe Schmo is not gonna contribute.
He's not even 1 ton
He
of that
ain't.
300
He's probably
million
not
tons.
even. He's probably 0.0000. Like you get what I'm saying, percentage wise, compared to the whole thing. But what we could do is we could raise awareness. But in a state and atmosphere like we are in today, I mean, we don't really know how far that would go.
So every Joe Smo is a person. So if every Joe Smo is the one littering,
Schmo, not smo.
all right. But
Schmo.
the point is, if everybody is a person and everybody is littering, then all that trash that's being littered because everybody has the mindset of, oh, it doesn't matter, will eventually be the leading cause to what the problem
I
is.
disagree.
But like you were saying though, like if one person does it, it's not that big of a deal, but that inspires 10 others, and those 10 others inspire another 500.
I see what
And
you're
then
saying,
just,
but
like,
I don't agree with it necessarily. If you were to combine all of the individual people's waste over a year, so that number that he gave us earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it would not factor in as much as we thought. If we said the population of the United States, like how much of that 300 million tons is their waste, maybe at most I would say 50 million. At most. Most of the waste that was part of that number that he gave us from 2018 is organization, manufacturing, institutions, large groups of people that contribute to waste, whether it's through whatever they're creating or selling. That's the problem, not the people that have their jelly sandwich rolled up in a bit of plastic, and then that plastic flew away in the wind while I was sitting at the picnic table, and I'm not going to fucking chase after that. So,
I mean, you also look at like the landfills.
Yeah.
With how big they're getting. And I think like what you're trying to say is like you throw a can out the window. That's nothing compared to how big the landfills are.
Yeah,
And
that would be
that's
a-
just trash that you actually take care of.
that would be a tiny drop in a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta think though, the trash that you throw out the window, someone's out there picking up and then sending to the landfill later. But when
Not
it's all
always.
sent, well, not always, yes, then it just kind of biodegrades
Drops in the
into
Pacific Island.
and that
People
just
on
stays at the bottom
probation.
of the ocean.
You know, you ever driving on the highway and you just see a bunch of people in yellow
Yeah.
shirts, and well, you don't want to know what they did to get that, but it's better than jail time, I'll tell you that.
Is that coming from like personal experience?
Well, I mean, I can tell you, I think it's pretty obvious that I'd rather fucking pick up garbage on the side of a highway, you know, pick up some white woman's midday coffee that she couldn't finish.
From Starbucks.
No, fuck that. Dunkin'. She didn't go to Starbucks today. But I'd rather do that than go to jail. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic.
No,
funny.
that relates because
agree.
You agree about not going to jail?
as he worked out one. So another quote that was brought up in the text was the throwaway culture of today calls for a new lifestyle, one that focuses on moderation and responsibility. So, like we were talking about earlier, and this kind of relates to the overconsumption topic about that, is that usually, I mean, especially with certain brands that you get, like I know with women's clothing, there's these like Sheen.
I
That-
think it's called. I'm not actually sure.
Sheen.
I think it's
Yeah.
Sheen.
Like
Is that a website? Isn't that
no,
a website?
no, it's like an actual like corporation, but it's based out in like China, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very, very cheaply made materials.
Oh yeah.
It's like clothing,
Yeah.
and it's affordable, but it's something that they wear, and they're like, oh, I want something better. It's just like that cheap and affordable option, and it just gets thrown away. And like that throwaway culture, in a sense, is like attributing to, you know, like all that waste because it's not being donated. I mean, unless it is.
There's some.
Yeah.
But most of it's not. You're
But-
correct.
And another thing with that is the material is so poorly made, and I'm not hating on the company itself. Like, there are sweatshop workers working to make those things, and I'm not saying like, but because the material is so cheaply made, like it can rip, it could tear, it could stretch, and like it's not the same.
Doesn't
so then
last long.
it doesn't last long. So then it gets thrown away. But it's cheap. It's like I think for like a shirt, it's like $7.
$3.50 on a good day.
Yeah, $3.50. Like
What, the price changes daily? It's like the market.
it's
Oh.
like it's like you know,
It
Temu.
fluctuates like the market. It's up $3.84 one
It
day,
is.
$3.79 another.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know if you've
demand
ever
of it.
shopped on it, but it is like crazy cheap. I've got like a couple shirts. Like, oh,
Do you
I'll
still
try
own
this.
those shirts?
No.
What
They're-
happened to those shirts?
They're back home and they're in a drawer that I'll never touch.
But you didn't get rid of them. You didn't throw them out. You
I
didn't
have all my old
donate.
clothes, so I have never donated so far. So I mean, clothes wise, I just have
But-
a lot of space back home.
So like these companies that, you know, seem to be affordable, and they are, but they're not made with the best material. I mean, those are like what attribute to that throwaway culture. And I mean, do you guys kind of see like the point that the Pope was kind of trying to say in that? Like today is just like we are becoming a culture where we kind of evolved with this throwaway culture that it's almost as natural. Like if Rob,
Normalized.
yeah, like I know.
I could agree with that.
So if like you grew up in, let's say, the 80s, I mean, it'd probably be eye-opening to be where you are right now. Or especially like growing up in the Great Depression, like everything was stored, but now it's just kind of like, that's fine. We'll have it the next day until we don't. You know what I mean? Until we have that, you know, wake up.
You know how I feel about predicting when the world's gonna end.
Oh yeah. If you guys want to check that out, be sure to go over to Just Yakkin'. So nice little plug.
It's satirical.
Ooh.
I picture episode
Episode
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so to kind of put this to theology is biblically, wow. That was a hard word to say.
Biblically.
Indubitably.
So to care for a common home, that is brought up in the Bible, and it's also brought up in the letter. To care for a common home.
That's supposed to be Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a feeling that's where you would go with it.
Yes.
I just needed to say
no,
it.
No. But to care for a common home is to take care of it and to make sure that this end's being used, but we're also making it up by helping this end. You kind of see what I'm saying here?
Yes.
And I think, especially today, it's becoming more and more prevalent that we're not doing that. And we're not caring for a common home. And we're just thinking about the now and not the future.
You go tell the leaders of the 2 organizations in the Middle East to go get their shit together and focus on this. I'm just saying, like, there's other things that
Robbie,
other
we're always
people
supposed to say I agree.
I know. But then he gave me the freedom to have my opinion. So
No, it's not bad to have an opinion. I get it.
it's just that some things take higher priorities.
So you don't think caring for a common home is priority?
No, I do. You're not understanding that. I totally agree. However, most people that have power, unlike me, just me, Joe Schmo, I litter like 3 times every year.
Oh.
Out the window. Oops. It was mainly gum.
No,
yeah,
that
it's really
degrades.
bad.
It grades.
Oh,
Degrades,
okay.
I think.
Yeah, it takes like 2 years.
One thing.
Oh, 2 years. Ooh.
Yeah, probably.
There's other things. My whole point is that there's other things that people feel are valued more importantly, so this gets pushed to the back burner, which is what we've had happen in politics for the last 20 years, is that every now and then we'll get someone who's very big on this, and it'll kind of turn people off from caring about it. That's just the way it is. And then there's people that try to push legislation and all that, but it's a polarizing thing to do because most people don't agree with how it should be done, and it's hard. It's a very thin line. My whole point of this is saying we have a problem. It's not going to be addressed because we have internationally, domestically, in our minds, fucking 5 or 6 things that we feel are more important. Don't agree with that, but that's the way it is.
So the only way it could be fixed is by one of
Changing
the most
leadership.
powerful people in the world to maybe do something. And like you were saying earlier, one of the most powerful people.
Not
that
really.
has
No,
a lot of
because
say. It
the
has a lot
only
of sway of people. would be the
okay,
Pope.
let's say that
And this is why he's writing a letter to the people of
And that-
all every.
and the letter
entire
was in
world.
2015 and it's been 9 years and this is still a very big problem.
Oh, this won't be resolved for 200 years, most
My
likely.
point being,
But it's in the works
yes, obviously,
all around the world.
It's in the early stages of it. There's many things that have been created in probably the last decade that have helped waste consumption tremendously.
Decade as in 100 years?
No, 10 years.
Decades 10, Jared.
Sorry.
Centuries 10.
Centuries
is
100.
10.
Or, yeah, I knew what I was saying, but...
There is a
Tired.
device that has been placed into the water that's like a plastic catcher. Catches plastic that's just floating in the ocean. Things like that. Those are good steps.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to build to.
It's
However, like I am trying to get this point across.
Yes, people in power,
things,
yeah.
Small things are being done. The big things are not. People in power do the small things to appease the people that care so much about this because they don't want to do the big thing because that would require resources, time, money, and those are 3 things politicians and lawmakers do not like. Spending money, unless they have to. Time and resources.
So, like, what I'm getting from this is, like, at least from your perspective, is yes, it is a problem. And I'm not saying
It's
I don't agree.
acknowledged.
Yeah,
That's huge.
it's acknowledged.
It's huge.
No, that's not like a diss.
That's
No.
made me go back on my word.
But so you're saying that as a regular person, you should not really care because the people
No,
in power.
That's not what I'm saying. You need to elect your
what-
officials correctly so that if you do feel like this is a big problem, your representative or your leader of the free world actually cares about the problem too, not just saying that to get elected into office. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but the thing is, when you get elected into office, all right, and they're a part of a committee, and the majority of the committee isn't doing anything, but that one person's trying.
Well-
What do you do then?
Justin,
You can't just say, "Hey, all of you guys are bad. You're gonna be off." Like,
Justin,
it's
if
just-
one person gets elected in, let's say, the House or the Senate, since you wanted to use the committee term, these people that join these House Judiciary Committees, all these committees in the House, they're one person. You're right. We need to elect a bunch of fucking people that would care about it. However, what's most important is being able to pass legislation, compromising on it to get it through to actually help people. That's the key. Not just having people on committees that agree with the idea that, oh, we're fucking up our world. No, you need to get people that actually are going to put the time and effort to creating legislation, to actually getting it done, to actually enacting on that. And that takes time and a lot of people's support. A lot of people's support that right now they don't have. So that's why I'm saying the best way, Joe Schmo like me, Joe Schmo like Jake, the best way we can handle this and we can tackle this problem is by correctly picking elected officials that actually work for us and take our word for it. If we say we have an environmental problem we want to be fixed, we got to have someone that wants it to be fixed too, not just saying that and collecting their fucking 100K a month bonuses for whatever shady shit they do.
The hard part, though, is like a lot of people who are elected will say those things and they will get a lot of votes for it, but they don't actually
don't
do
act on
anything
it. That's my
because of those
point.
things you
Yes.
were talking about.
Because it's, I mean, not to steer off course, but politics and elections and all that is just all about the next one. You win, and then you're like, all right, great. I got 2 or 4 or 6 years to work towards the next one. And they immediately start working towards the next one. We need people to get into positions of power that actually want to change things, not just saying it during their whole fucking run up to it and the election cycle.
And the only way we could do that is do it ourselves. Maybe one day. Yeah, I'm
I like
just
that.
saying, like,
Look,
you gotta vote for the right people. You might have to do it yourself.
Pope Francis's letter is very important because of who it came from, right?
Mhm.
The
Has
leader of the
powerful meaning.
Roman Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
However, other than that letter, what can he do really? Other than bring awareness to it. What can he actually do to fix the problem?
I mean, as a person of power, he
What
actually
power does he hold?
he holds the power of the whole world looking at him.
The whole,
People
like,
from
every-
different places looking at him, yes.
No,
And-
no. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying like, how can he fix that other than having the people listen to him?
So he has the power of individuals, power of money, the power of connections. Like, at that point in life, you even said yourself, he's one of the most powerful individuals.
Correct.
You'd be one of the best people to answer your own question with that. But, like, how is he powerful?
How?
I can't say because I don't know
Yeah.
too
Exactly.
much about him.
You guys,
But
it's not
he-
it's not a dig at either one of you two. The reason I say he's powerful is for the same reason that you guys said he's powerful, because he has the people, for lack of a better term, in the palm of his hand. Not saying that literally, just saying that people listen to him. But that was 9 years ago. What has he done in the last 9 years
Brought awareness to the topic.
other than bring awareness?
What else could he do?
That's
he could
my
bring
point.
awareness.
That's
No,
my point.
Rob,
No.
you're asking me a question that I physically cannot answer.
That's my point, though. You're not understanding that. He can't do much other than bring awareness. We need people that actually can make change to get on board with this. You need
But
people
wouldn't
that...
the way of doing that bring awareness to it? Like bringing an awareness to a topic to have it be talked about and openly talked about more, because him not saying anything to it. Because think about this. Before this letter was really written, anything that would happen,
People
like,
didn't believe in global warming.
people-
Like, the government wasn't that heavily influenced by it.
people.
Yep. I know. I don't think we see eye to eye on what I'm trying to get a point, and Jake would like to say something.
Yeah, like I think what he's trying to say is like the most popular person who, if even if everyone was in the palm of his hands, if they said something about this topic, and a lot of, like, there's a group of people that actually follow what he said, then it wouldn't even touch compared to like if he could actually do something about it.
Mm-hmm. That's my point. It's not a dig against him because his role isn't supposed to have political power.
He's a leader.
Yes, but he's not supposed to have any political power over governments. Now, whether he does or doesn't is not what we're talking about. What we're saying is the role he's supposed to have is leader of the church and leader of people. So, this letter, while it brings awareness to it, and I'm sure in one of the 170 pages of it, it says somewhere where he calls upon government officials to actually bring action to it. We have not done enough since that letter has been published to justify saying we're tackling the problem. We're addressing it. We're just bringing awareness to the fact. And we're at the point where everyone has the awareness that global warming and climate change is important. Now it's time that we act on the awareness that we know. You know? If I told you a story and I said at the end, don't do blank, that's me telling you from experience, right? Don't do something. You have the awareness now not to do that thing. Are you still going to do it? That's up for you to decide. But you have that knowledge now of what not to do or what to do. Now it's time for you to decide to actually follow through or not touch the subject. Leave it alone.
Like, I think the awareness part, it will affect a certain number of people who actually will change their ways and like start picking up trash and all that.
Yeah.
But it's still a super small percentage compared to everybody in the world.
Yeah.
The only way that they can actually do it, I mean, take COVID for a fact. I mean, like, the government actually did something and made it mandatory to wear masks just to enter some place to buy things.
And that was all around
That
the
was
world.
action.
That was all around the world too.
That was
Like,
exactly
heavily.
all around the world.
Except Sweden.
They were actually able to make it so that people wore masks. Now, if they took some sort of action like that for all this waste, then they would make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But just telling people you should wear a mask, that wouldn't have done anything. It would.
I see what your guys are saying, but the thing that's so frustrating for me is because I try to think about future, and I try to think of the common home that we all share, and how at the end of the day, yes, I understand that me picking up a piece of garbage is probably minuscule, but me doing that, one, makes me feel better about myself.
That's good. That's by design. I'm
Yeah.
glad you do.
And
good.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, since I think about the future, why should I have an upbringing of children if it's just going to keep becoming more and more like a wasteland?
If you want to live in fear and paranoia, fine with me.
I'm not living in fear and paranoia. I'm just saying that.
Well, you're saying you don't want to bring kids into this world because the world's so terrible, or
I didn't say that. I said that
you have a gift
I've-
on this planet, and to say you don't want to share that gift with your own children that you could create, I don't know.
But if you couldn't give them what you had, and it'd be very, very different. Now, imagine this. If we lived in a place like where we were in COVID-like conditions for the rest of your life, would you want a kid in that?
Yeah, still.
You'd want to...
Yeah. That's how you evolve. That's how you reproduce. You reproduce to evolve and to grow as a society.
Yeah.
To say, oh, society really sucks right now. I don't want to reproduce. I don't want to have kids and bring them into this. Okay, that's fine, but think about it. You're choosing this beautiful gift that you got of life, not to share it because, world bad. Here's my thing. And I was trying to say this with Jake. Actions,
Bro, it's like...
actions speak louder than words. When you take action against the problem, it speaks a lot louder than you saying it.
And I think what you were trying to say is like with the awareness thing, like say you do walk on the street and you see a piece of trash, you pick it up. Yeah, you are making a difference, but it's also important that you have the awareness that me picking up that piece of trash and starting to do that every single day for the rest of my life is only making a very minuscule change on the world. Like just knowing that, like it's very small.
But if it makes you feel better and you feel like you're contributing, that's good. And you are contributing. Even though it is small, it matters. And I'm glad that you contribute. And I know after this, I'll be much more conscious about where and how I throw away things, all items. So I think it is smart to be conscious of, garbage that we produce and where we leave that garbage.
So the letter reached you.
No, no. I mean, sure. I would just say that it's common knowledge to fucking pick up your trash.
And now litter is
I mean,
frequent.
like really,
Well,
like do you
think about
have
this
to?
though. So religion and politics, people don't like that, and I could see why.
They mixed like chocolate and peanut butter. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did.
Yeah, people don't like that. They don't like
That's great.
seeing politics and religion collide with one another. They don't like that at all. The feedback that Pope Francis ended up getting from this letter about this topic was immense. He's like, oh, why is he doing this? This is just a political gain. What is he getting out of this? This is that. This is that. And I feel that, I mean, being of a person that has all that power and, putting it out there and saying, hey, like, not only is this affecting us, but especially in the place where he's in, he's going to get ridiculed. He's going to get mocked. He's going to have probably people leave him because of what he put out. Like all those followers who didn't agree with that before he put it out. He's going to lose people. But he still acknowledged it and still put that out there. I find that something like a key
Courageous.
point. Courageous in a sense, yeah.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. It is a courageous act to spread awareness on something that is controversial and that most people don't necessarily see eye to eye with, but whether they agree or don't, it is a topic that's important, and they don't need to agree to understand that we do have there's some truth and importance behind it. I think sometimes people don't agree because it goes too far, but that's a story for a different time.
Mm-hmm. What I was trying to make with the point of earlier about upbringing children into this world. No matter what my personal opinion on this is, I will always want to have a kid. But I'm saying for those people that didn't really who have that. But what I'm saying is I want to give my child that I don't even have yet
the best
life possible, and I want them to experience, if not the same exact things. Like I want them to see the glaciers. I want them to see the animals I got to see. I want them to go to the places you guys gone. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you think in 40 years there won't be those things?
Well, I mean,
Also,
extinction of animals happens.
VR will be so advanced that it'll feel like real life. And I'm being so serious with
Well,
technology.
there's a difference between
They
sitting
will
in your
see
basement and looking at a virtual reality.
Touch the zebra.
What? Yeah, like.
Touch
Also,
the
But what I'm saying is,
zebra.
like,
they brought they're bringing three extinct animals back. The dodo bird they're bringing back, the woolly mammoth, and one other.
so we're literally
animal.
going to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, no, the DNA genetics. You won't believe how advanced that got.
No, 10 seconds, stop.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
'Cause 10
Copyright,
seconds.
copyright.
I did like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
You
that's
got
why I stopped you.
scared.
Yeah, I got scared. We actually did get a notice.
Welcome. To Fort now. I was
Yeah,
gonna say Jurassic Park.
Genetics
but I
is
can't.
cool. My one teacher is really involved in that.
What
So-
else do you want to bring up, sir?
The last topic I just wanted to touch upon, we just can just touch the surface and
Touch
kind of
the
let it
surface.
sit with you guys.
Tip of the
is-
iceberg.
We all experience scarcity of materials. This all happened during COVID with toilet paper. And how all of a sudden,
That's how I got into my first fight.
no way,
Yeah.
over toilet paper?
Yeah.
Well,
It was
we'll
bad.
tell that story off air.
That's the story
But-
for not camera.
But like
It
I was
kind of
saying,
shitty
is
situation, if you know what I'm saying.
But we've all experienced that state of being in a panic mode because we didn't know what was happening at that time. Stop.
What? I'm just giggling. I'm
Thinks he's
sorry.
Buddy thinks he's him.
No,
But-
Think you're the shit?
I don't think.
You're not even the fart.
Okay.
That's
But
great.
Sorry.
when we become in this
Cringe.
state of panic, the overconsumption of materials, and not just saying COVID, where I last worked, I remember on the news, oh, this place is about to get 6 inches of snow. All right. Weather forecast is never right. We get 2 inches of snow. But before that, I would have people come in and grab 8-gallon jugs of milk. Like,
Gotta get the bread and milk.
yeah.
It's one of my
and,
favorite videos of all time,
like,
actually.
I remember just sitting there and, at least for me, I saw it firsthand. Like, the overconsumption of materials just being in a state of panic, and how with them then over-consuming because of that panic, the amount of throwaway and waste and all that they're doing because of that. Think of how much food was wasted of them choosing to get 8 gallons of milk. Unless they had it all. I mean, props to them, but 8 gallons of milk for...
What happens if I want to drink 8 gallons of milk a day? Then what?
They could have frozen. You
fine-
don't know.
Fine by me. I mean...
Here's my thing.
But you don't find that to be a problem?
Did they pay for it?
They did. But
Then I don't have a problem with
But-
it.
The only problem I see with it is
think about the
fact
families that
other-
didn't have a chance to get that.
that. Yeah.
The people that needed it the most...
You're right. That's
That-
the
then-
shitty part. But
Money talks is
Money
what Rob
talks.
is what Rob wants
if
to
you've
say
got
here.
the money, you got the ability to do it, and you do it, that I can't
so that's
shit.
what the rich people are doing.
Yeah.
Big business.
Yeah.
Goes back
You
to
know
that.
what? And that's the sad way that we are able to live, and we've lived forever, is that the rich will always be able to survive.
We have lived forever. That's a bold claim since we've only been on this planet for however long, and the planet's
Okay, Jared.
Bro, you said forever. You said forever. Forever is big. Forever too big. Humans small.
gonna-
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Can you just put his mic close to the thing so I could see you?
Like that?
A little bit farther back. Right there.
Okay.
Well, that happened. I guess we're gonna end without him. I guess he wasn't feeling jokish today. But
He said humans live forever in something correlation with powers always talked. To a point. No, I agree with you to a point. Like throughout all civilizations, power does have a heavy influence, but like
all
I
right.
don't know.
You definitely did that for the YouTube short.
Yeah, he did.
Jared, I can't wait.
He's
I
trained.
can't fucking
He's
wait
trained.
till the next time on Just Yakkin' when I can call you out for some stupid shit. You mess up a word, you better have a
Oh, I don't
thesaurus
mess up.
out, 'cause
Um,
I'm gonna fucking
okay.
destroy you.
I don't mess up.
All right,
All right.
let's
don't
tie it
mess
up
up.
here.
We are gonna tie it up, but I just
Bedtime.
want to leave you guys with something. All right. So the things that were brought up in Laudato Si, we only touched upon, like not even a theme, but a sub theme of a major theme that was brought up in it.
Mhm.
And I mean, this whole talk was something that I was kind of interested in, but to the people out there who, are watching this, who want to know more about it, definitely go check it out. It doesn't just talk about overconsumption of materials. There's other good points that are brought up in it, and just relationships in general is brought up in it, and how that even in itself is being diminished. Like the relationship with people nowadays is going down, and he saw that in 2015. I mean, you could see
Yeah.
9 years from now, or 9 years ago,
About to
it was
be
a lot
10.
different. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Completely
So,
different.
like the thing that was brought up in this was not the whole thing that was surrounding the letter. The whole thing that was surrounding the letter were not just overconsumption of materials, climate change. It was a bunch of other points that, Pope Francis kind of set aside, and he even got input from other people. So, I don't even know what that noise is. But be sure to check it out. It'll be in the description below. Thank you so
guys.
much for just listening and giving us your time to talk about these topics. And before I let you guys go, how'd you guys feel about, everything that was talked about? Like, does it leave you different? Does it like leave you with a different weight now, knowing about like
Yeah.
some of the things?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Hard to
I would agree.
describe, I would put it, though.
I learned a lot about it. So
I definitely learned a lot about it.
so hopefully when you guys are asked about Laudato Si, you can answer some questions and just say, hey, it's not just a 3-page letter, but instead it's 170 pages.
Yeah, it's a cool fact.
that doesn't only talk about overconsumption. It talks about more than that.
So, but
So
all right.
you bought all this stuff for a school project?
Yep, all this stuff was bought for a school project.
And that's
This is your
overconsumption, wouldn't you say?
Huh?
When you say that's overconsumption?
Yeah, overconsumption, but we actually use it. So, peace out, guys. See you later.
Catch you on Just Yakking if you're interested.
Just yakking.
Just Yakking, never not